One moment, let me shoot this video as a heel. Welcome to Wrestling Knows Best. My name is Mike E, and today we're gonna talk about WrestleMania 42 predictions. You ready? All right, like this video and we'll get started. Go ahead, I'll wait. All right, hit my music. Are you ready to put your lemon pepper steppers on? And let's talk about these predictions. All right, let's start with WrestleMania Saturday. The first match on my card is Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu in an unsanctioned match. Now, let me just start by saying all of these matches this year were a little tough to predict. There were some where I was like, yeah, you know what? I know who the winner will be for this one. But there are others that I just, it's a 50-50 chance, to be honest. I could see it going either way. This is one of those matches. But I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre on this one because the rumor is that Drew McIntyre is going to disappear after WrestleMania. And he might just do that. But I also heard that he's also filming the movie or filming whatever he's filming while making his commitments to SmackDown. So I don't know if he's going to take an extended break after Mania or what, but because I'm hearing this information, maybe it's just some type of swerve to make you think that he's going to lose at WrestleMania. And on top of that, I think that whoever put Jacob Fatu out, storyline wise, in December, whoever knocked his teeth out, I think they're going to reveal themselves at WrestleMania. They still haven't closed the loop on that story. So I think Drew McIntyre, whether it's Drew McIntyre or somebody else who's siding with Drew McIntyre, is going to reveal themselves as Jacob Fatu's culprit, I guess, or I don't know how you would say that, but the person who attacked Jacob Fatu. So your winner in the unsanctioned match, Drew McIntyre. And to round out the first hour of WrestleMania, because the first hour is going to be on ESPN. The next match is the Usos and LA Knight versus The Vision and IShowSpeed. And so again, this one's another coin flip. I think this one could go either way. But because the Usos and LA Knight won on Raw, I think they're going to give it to The Vision and IShowSpeed. Also, Logan Paul is kind of been on a roll lately at WrestleMania. He defeated AJ Styles last year. I think they're going to continue the momentum with him. Plus, it's Celebmania, so why not have the celebs win with IShowSpeed? And I guess you can put Logan Paul in that category as well. So your winners for that trios match is The Vision and IShowSpeed. So now on to, I guess you could call it the main card, whatever is going to be on ESPN Plus in the States. Thankfully, in Canada, where I'm from, we get to watch it on Netflix. But on my card, I have the four-way women's tag match, which has the champions, the Irresistible Forces, versus Charlotte and Alexa, versus Bayley and Lyra, versus the Bella Twins. Now, originally I had the Bella Twins winning, but I'm not sure anymore because apparently Nikki's still walking around with that walking boot. Again, I don't know if it's to swerve us or what, but there is some question about whether or not Nikki Bella will be ready to go on Saturday. So I am changing my answer. And again, this is another one of those coin flips. I think that any one of these teams could win. But I'm going to say that Bayley and Lyra Valkyria are going to win this one. I think back to last WrestleMania, and it was Bayley and Lyra who were supposed to be in the tag match last year. But the Raw before Mania, Bayley got attacked by a mystery person who we found out to be Becky Lynch later on. And Lyra and Becky ended up winning the tag belts, but it was supposed to be Bayley and Lyra. So I could see them rewarding Bayley for doing what she did last year, and then also keeping the momentum with Lyra. this is also another like changing of the guard WrestleMania where I could see them wanting to put over a lot of the younger talent. So my final answer is Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, your new women's tag team champions. The next match I've got on my card is AJ Lee, the Intercontinental Champion, versus Becky Lynch. Now, I'm going to go with Becky Lynch on this one because the last 3 encounters that these ladies have had, AJ Lee has got the better of Becky Lynch. So Becky Lynch has been doing a good job of putting AJ Lee over. But when you think of post-WrestleMania, what does that look like? We're not sure where AJ Lee is going to be, but we know that Becky Lynch is going to be on Monday Night Raw after. So I do see that, what's upcoming. It makes sense for Becky Lynch to walk out as champion. And also, Becky Lynch is the man. It's big time Bex. She main evented WrestleMania. She's got a strong WrestleMania history. Last year, she won the tag champs at WrestleMania. And this year, I think she's going to win the Intercontinental Championship. So final answer is Becky Lynch. The next match I've got on my card is Gunther versus Seth Rollins. And again, this is another one of those coin flips. I think both of these wrestlers are strong. They're both former world champions. And the build for this one came up really quick. But they're both doing a really good job of getting people interested in this match. But I'm going to go with Gunther on this one because Gunther just, retired Goldberg, retired John Cena, retired AJ Styles, and it wouldn't make sense for him to take a loss anytime soon. So I do see him winning this one. If anything, it only helps build Gunther, which is what they're trying to do. And I don't think this necessarily hurts Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins has reached a status right now where I don't think that he could get hurt. He could physically get hurt, as we've seen. He's got... Well, anyway, that's something for another video. But I don't think it hurts his status in terms of his wrestling ability or his ability to be over with the crowd. So I'm going to go with final answer. Gunther wins this one and continues his momentum. The next match I have on the card is the Women's World Championship match. Stephanie McMahon, the champion, versus Liv Morgan. Now, this has probably been one of the best builds to WrestleMania. It started right after the Royal Rumble. You could tell these two ladies have chemistry in terms of their promo work and their builds to this match. We'll see what the chemistry is like in the ring. But I think that Liv Morgan is going to take this one. I think she's got a lot of momentum behind her. And not to say that Stephanie McMahon doesn't have momentum. I think she does. But when I look at like performance-wise and acting-wise and promo-wise, Liv's been bringing it. And I think it's her time. She won her first Royal Rumble earlier this year to earn this match, and I honestly think she's earned this championship opportunity and has earned the belt if she wins, which that's going to be my guess. Final answer: Liv Morgan wins the World Championship. And the main event of WrestleMania Saturday is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes is a champion for this one. It was a little bit of a weird build to this one. Drew McIntyre was the champion at Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton won the SmackDown after Elimination Chamber. Cody Rhodes fought Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes won the championship, which means that Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton would be the match at WrestleMania. At the time when it first took place, they were both faces, but when they did the contract signing week after, Randy Orton ended up turning heel on Cody Rhodes, but it was kind of a heel turn, but people were cheering for him. It was a little bit confusing. But a couple weeks went by. I honestly thought it was going in a pretty good direction. They had this mystery phone call that Randy Orton was on the phone with. It turns out that person on the other end of the line was Pat McAfee, which was kind of a twist. The internet wrestling community doesn't really like that it was Pat McAfee. You know, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think that it's almost like shoehorned in. I don't think that it really fit the storyline. I think somebody like a Ted DiBiase Jr., who has history with both men, would have made more sense. But hey, we're here. It's Pat McAfee, and they're making it work. So anyway, Randy Orton is a heel. Pat McAfee is a heel. And Cody Rhodes is your babyface right now, even though people want to cheer on Randy Orton. But you know what? If I had to choose one, again, this one's another coin flip. I think they could go in either direction. But I think they're going to go with Randy Orton on this one. I think it makes sense when you think of like the big picture of what they're building. This will be Randy Orton's 15th World Championship. And he's on track to beat John Cena's record. And John Cena just made the record last year. It would make sense the following WrestleMania, oh, Randy Orton is getting closer to that record. You know, they're telling a bigger story, WrestleMania to WrestleMania. So for me, it makes sense for Randy Orton to win this one. And that's your WrestleMania Saturday. Before we go to WrestleMania Sunday, let me change back to my face gimmick. Just because, you know, I think I play a better face than I do a heel. WrestleMania Sunday. So the first hour is on ESPN, and they have Obafemi and Brock Lesnar on the first hour of WrestleMania Sunday. I think it'd be a great way to kick off WrestleMania. If you're not going to have Brock Lesnar go on last, makes sense to put him on first. I'm a little disappointed because we won't see Obafemi's typical entrance where it's completely dark and you get the green lights and everything like that. Because it's during the day, it'll be like start at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So the sun will probably be up and we're not going to get that darkness, even though it is a dome. I think the light goes through the dome. It actually reminds me of, I'm wearing this shirt, you can kind of see it, Undertaker versus Shane McMahon. I remember going to WrestleMania 32, being so excited to see Undertaker's WrestleMania entrance, because that was like one of a bucket list, not only just to make it to WrestleMania, but to see Undertaker's entrance at WrestleMania. And I remember being a little disappointed because the lights weren't fully shut off. I mean, yeah, they had the music, they had the smoke and everything like that, but it wasn't dark, completely dark. So it was one of Undertaker's underwhelming WrestleMania entrances. But at least I could say I was there. Anyway, that's kind of how I feel like Obafemi's entrance might be. A little underwhelming because it won't be completely dark, but who knows? Maybe they find a way to make it completely dark there for the entrance, but who knows? I think people will still be, you know, dancing along to the entrance regardless. But it will be cool. Anyway, we've got Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. This is a coin flip. You know, it's tough. I went back and forth because, you know, it makes sense for Obafemi to win because of the momentum that he's got going into the match. You know, they're trying to build him up into this big star. But I got to be honest with you, we're on ESPN. This is the first WrestleMania on ESPN. Yeah, it would be a big statement for Obafemi to beat Brock Lesnar, but I think they go with Brock Lesnar here. I think Brock Lesnar beats Obafemi here. Obafemi's already a made man for, you know, the build that they had to WrestleMania. Like Obafemi, yeah, he was starting to gain a lot of momentum when he moved to the main roster, which was good. He transitioned very well. But just having him side by side with Brock catapulted him to the next level. And, would a match help, winning the match help here? Yes, it would. But I think Brock Lesnar's already brought him to a certain level that, Obafemi doesn't necessarily need to win this particular one. I also think about WrestleMania history. Like, let's not forget, Brock Lesnar ended Undertaker's streak. Like, Brock Lesnar is a strong beast at WrestleMania. I think the only other person the only other person to beat Undertaker was at WrestleMania was Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns was pretty much the only other person to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania since Brock beat the streak. I'm trying to think if anyone else had beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania after the streak, after WrestleMania 30, and I don't think so, other than Roman Reigns. I could be wrong. Got to fact check that one. Anyway, another reason why I think Brock Lesnar wins this one is because I think Brock Lesnar wins this one, but they're going to run it back at SummerSlam in Minneapolis this summer, and I think that's where Brock Lesnar puts over Obafemi. Yeah, I know, Brock Lesnar losing in his hometown, but you know what? I think just him being at that show will bring a lot of people in, and Lesnar, despite what people say, Lesnar is about the business. And I think for him, he sees that there's money to do more than one match with Obafemi. So that's the scenario that I could see. In fact, I could see Brock Lesnar winning this match, Obafemi winning the King of the Ring. And who knows, maybe Brock Lesnar wins the championship on the way to SummerSlam. And then you've got Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi for a world championship at SummerSlam. And Brock Lesnar puts him over big there. That could be a scenario. So anyway, final answer, I'm going with Brock Lesnar winning at WrestleMania 42. And this is still the first hour of WrestleMania. We've got the 6-way ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship with JD McDonough, Dragon Lee, Rusev, Penta, Javon Evans, and Rey Mysterio. This is just going to be a banger of a match. This reminds me of that ladder match. I think it was, WrestleMania 31 that started with, I believe it was a 6-way, either a 5-way or a 6-way ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. And I think we're going to get a great outcome here. I think it's going to come down to two people. It's either going to be Javon Evans or Penta retains. It would be really cool to see Javon Evans win. That would make him that would make him the youngest wrestler to win a championship. I think he's 21. I think the youngest to win, at least to win the IC title, was Jeff Hardy when he was 23. Excuse me. But I'm trying to think what happens after WrestleMania. I know that Penta's been talking about defending the Intercontinental Championship on AAA. So, I think there's still more of a story to tell there. So I'm going to go with Penta retaining in an incredible Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Now on to I guess you could say the main card of WrestleMania Sunday. I don't know if we call it main, but the one that'll be on ESPN Plus in the States. But the first match on my card is Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. You know what? In terms of momentum wise, I could see Trick Williams winning this. That's definitely the way that it's going, and I definitely had him winning this match a couple weeks ago when I was trying to predict who would win. But at the time, it was Carmelo Hayes that was the champion, U.S. champion. A couple weeks ago, Sami Zayn won the U.S. championship, but now that Sami Zayn is the champion, initially I thought, okay, Sami Zayn's going to put him over, but now that I think about it a little bit more, it doesn't really bode well for Sami Zayn's story. Like, how do they keep Sami Zayn strong? And I know that's something that they want to do, especially with WrestleMania being in Saudi Arabia next year. I know that they want to have a big match for Sami Zayn. Last year, Sami Zayn missed WrestleMania, so they definitely didn't want to do that again this year. Excuse me. And keep in mind, Sami Zayn is a WrestleMania main eventer, and he also defeated Gunther at WrestleMania. He ended Gunther's longest Intercontinental Championship reign of, I believe it was 666 days. Sami Zayn was the one to end that. And Gunther hasn't taken a lot of losses in WWE, period. But somebody on that short list is Sami Zayn. So, let's not lose sight of that. Just whether you love him or you hate him, Sami Zayn has actually won some pretty big matches. So I'm going to say that Sami Zayn is going to win this one, but I do think that he puts Trick Williams over at some point in time in the near future and probably drops the belt to him. But I don't think it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I think they've got a little bit more of a story to tell there. So my final answer is Sami Zayn retaining the U.S. Championship. Next on my card is Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill for the Women's WWE Championship. This one's a coin flip. For me anyway. I think Rhea Ripley's won a lot of big time matches in WWE and at WrestleMania particularly. She's one that Charlotte Flair had put over and at WrestleMania. And that's the sign of like, okay, we want to put a rocket on this wrestler. Is if Charlotte Flair is putting you over at WrestleMania, then they think very highly of you. And so they did that with Rhea Ripley. Now they've got Jade Cargill here, who looks the part, acts the part. I think she's got a little bit of room for growth in terms of wrestling the part, but lately they've actually built her up to be pretty strong. If you were to ask me about a month ago, I would say that she would be dropping the title at WrestleMania, but they gave her a win over Io Sky last week, and I don't know. I think they're building her up to be strong. I think her beating Io Sky is just kind of showing that, okay, she can be at that main event level. She can hang with the top stars. And I wonder if they put Jade Cargill over here to help elevate her and build up more of the women championship picture. So, do I want to say it? You know what? I think I'm going to go Jade Cargill here, because with Rhea, they can, put her back into a tag team championship program with Io Sky. There's definitely more story to tell there. I just think that Jade Cargill, or no, sorry, not Jade Cargill. I think Rhea Ripley has storyline after WrestleMania that doesn't necessarily need her to have the WWE Championship. And I think with Jade Cargill, there's still more to build there. I would say maybe have her retain, but have her wrestle every week, defend the title, and get some matches under her belt. Maybe that's the way that they go, and then whoever wins the Queen of the Ring gets to face her at SummerSlam. Maybe that's the scenario. But okay, let me just choose one. I'm gonna go with Jade Cargill. Final answer. She retains the WWE Championship. And then next on my card, I've got the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. This is just a straight up grudge match. They brought back the Demon Finn Balor. I kind of wish that they didn't promote it, but I get it. You're trying to sell tickets, but it would have been so cool if he would have just came out as the Demon. I think that would have been a huge pop at WrestleMania. And honestly, I don't know how much tickets it sold to be like, oh, I'm going to go see the Demon Finn Balor. Like, I think that I would have saw Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio regardless of whether or not the Demon shows up or not, because of the build that they had. Like, this has been building since before WrestleMania 41. Like, this has, for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, this storyline has been building. So you didn't need to sell me with Demon Finn Balor, but I am happy that the Demon Finn Balor is showing up for this match. That said, the Demon Finn Balor doesn't lose a lot of matches. I think he's lost one match, and that was against Edge at a WrestleMania. So I think they bring back the Demon Demon Finn Balor, they keep the demon strong. So the winner is going to be Finn Balor. Final answer. Now time for the main event of WrestleMania Sunday. The last match of WrestleMania weekend. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. Nope, this is for the World Championship. The World Champion is CM Punk. This has been another good build to this match. The build started after Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble, and I like the fact that he just chose CM Punk. Didn't even have to, entertain going over to SmackDown and potentially challenge Drew McIntyre. He just chose the Monday Night Raw after Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns went after CM Punk, and I think that's how it should be. Very definitive with it. Don't need to prance around from show to show trying to figure out who you're going to wrestle. This one was a money match. I'm glad that they made it. And then it ties into last year's match, where last year was a triple threat between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. So, this one's got storyline. There's history towards it. CM Punk was the one that brought in the Shield, which included Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose, who wrestles as Jon Moxley now. So, this one can go either way. CM Punk has had a pretty decent run. But for some reason, I want to say that Roman Reigns wins this one. I think Roman Reigns is due for a big win. I've said that in the past recently, that he's due for a big win. And I think that was before Royal Rumble. I almost felt like he needed to win the Royal Rumble. I think he needs to win this one as well. And, he doesn't necessarily have to have a long reign. But I would say this is my, I don't know if it's a guess or a wish, but I think that Roman Reigns wins this one. And he either honestly loses the title the next day on Raw. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to a one-day reign, especially after his previous reign was 1,316 days, and then he has a one-day reign. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. But regardless of what happens, I think that he should be showing up every day and defending the title. If he wins, even if it's for 1 to 3 months, even if it's until SummerSlam or something like that, and then he takes time off. I think the last thing that people want to see is him win the title and him disappear. I don't think that would be the move. I could see why he was a part-timing it when he went on that 4-year run, because man, that's a long time to go every day, right? So, and I know they used to do that back in the day, but it's a different day and age. But I would like to see Roman Reigns win, and I'd like to see him show up at least every Raw after WrestleMania until he drops the belt. But I'm gonna go with Roman Reigns. Final answer. He wins the big one on WrestleMania Sunday. So those are my WrestleMania predictions. If you made it this far, hold on 1 second. If you made it this far, make sure to subscribe. And if you haven't already, like this video, or I'll lay the smackdown on your candy ass. My name is Mikey. This is Wrestling Knows Best. And you know what's up. We will see you in the next video. We will.